to D.C. to serve you as that senator.
Right. Well, this is obviously not my first stop here. I've been up here several times, and you know, the great thing about this whole year that I've been going all over the state talking to people is meeting people like y'all, getting to know you by your first name and what you do, know your kid's name, taking pictures, and I've done this everywhere, and that's the most fun part of this. Now, the election's a week from today, and I told y'all a couple times when I was here, I'd find out how many banks I've robbed. Well, they are coming out with it. I've robbed 9 banks so far. All these negative ads that are running against me, but you know what that means. They're losing because they hadn't worked like that worked. All their money's coming from Washington D.C. and they can't stand to have somebody that's going to go up there and help President Trump. They don't want anybody else like that. They want somebody that's boss to pay for it. So I'm not a swamp monster. I'm going to be my own voice, and I'm going to vote for the people of Alabama and for Donald Trump. And we're going to get something done, because I'm going to tell you, people don't realize, I don't think any of us really realize how close this tidal wave is coming to us. And it's coming. Socialism is coming, folks. It is coming fast. And all you got to do is watch a little bit of that Democratic primary. And I never thought I'd see talk like that on television in my lifetime. And they're going to end up probably picking a guy that totally believes in everything free in this country. And we know this country wasn't built on free. It was built on hard work, God, moral values, family, and they want to totally destroy that. They want everything to just be happy-go-lucky and everything's fine. Well, it's not fine. And what we get in this country, we're going to have to fight for it. And so I want to go up and fight now for this country instead of be fighting a little bit later on and really fight after they've taken over, because it's a scary time in our life. Donald Trump's got us back economically going in the right direction. But the problem that we have, and I tell people this, is our education in this country is brainwashing our kids, and it's taken them down a road of no return. And it started in '79 when President Jimmy Carter started the Department of Education. They brought in all these socialist, liberal people, 4,000 of them that control our country's education. And that's where we're at today. It's taken them that long, but they have got a foothold in our high schools, our elementary schools, and our higher education. And it is a shame that what our career politicians in Washington, D.C. have allowed to happen. They've turned their back. They've kicked the can down the road and said, we'll let somebody else solve this problem. Well, the automatic autopilot in this country is about burnout. Somebody better start making some tough decisions. And we finally got a guy up there that's, well, every time he makes a decision, the Republicans and Democrats go after him. We can't do it that way. That's not how we do it. Well, we better start changing, because what we're doing is not good for the country. So I'm looking forward to next Tuesday about this time. I'm going to vote at 10:30, which is almost 10:30 right now. I'm going to vote at 10:30 next week about this time, and I'm going to cast my vote for me. And I hope y'all cast your vote and tell everybody else to cast it. Because you see all these negative ads, it means one thing: they're losing. They can't stand it. And so we're going to try to be as positive as we can. And if we get to a point where it's a runoff, then we'll have 4 more weeks. And I'll be back up here. We'll be drinking coffee again and trying to get as many people as we can. But the one thing we need to do is get everybody to vote. Everybody go vote. Whether you vote for me or not, that's the one thing that this country gives you, the chance to vote on your leaders. And I tell people, well, I hadn't voted for a while. Well, don't complain. Don't complain if you don't vote, because that's your God-given right. So it's good to be here around friends, and even you, Chad. So again, if anybody got any questions, I'll answer. Most of you probably heard me talk. I'm giving my salary to the veterans. I'm not taking one dime. Every month, I'll go somewhere in the state and present a check to a widow of a soldier, or a family of kids that need to go to college, or put in a handicapped stairs for a a vet that's lost her legs. The one thing that I'm real disappointed in myself and you and our president and our Congress is, folks, we've let our veterans down. And it's our fault. And we have got to make sure that we understand that we owe them everything for what we do here today. When they get off that plane, they come back from fighting a foreign war where a lot of times they look 100% healthy. But up here, listening to bombs go off and doing the things that they had to do in a war, it takes a while to get over. But they come here and they can't get help in the VA hospital. It's socialized medicine. That's all it is. They need a card, they go to any hospital, any doctor, any dentist, any place they want to go, and we pay for it because we pay for every illegal in this country. They get free health care within 36 hours. That's a law. I didn't know whether you knew that or not. 36 hours, we have to pay for any illegal who comes here. If they say they need medical care, we got to take care of it. But our veterans, it takes 6 months. We got it backwards. Absolutely got it backwards. So I'm gonna give the money that I make, and I've challenged Jeff Sessions and these other guys that do that. They're doing this for the money and a career. I've had a career. I'm doing this for the state and the country. And I'm for term limits. Let's have different people going up there, different voices, soldiers, doctors, carpenters, educators, people that actually have done a job, that know what's going on in the country. If we don't do that, we're not going to get a different perspective of making sure this country survives. Any questions anybody got?
Coach, can you talk about how you voted for President Trump and how you support him, and you're going to go stand side by side with him and help him accomplish
Well,
what he needs
when I first moved back to Alabama, I thought about running for governor. And I looked into it. When Kay Ivey moved into that spot, I said, I'm not doing it because I want to give back and help. And my dad died in the military. He loved this country, so I never was in the military, so I want to give back. When President Trump got elected, I supported him the day he came down that escalator with his wife. I said, we got to have something different because I've seen it in education, and because I'm out in the public eye every day, and I see the drugs and the mental health, no plan. I see all of this. So I said, we got to get somebody that's had a job. So I supported him. I voted for him. And then the first thing that happens when he gets in there, Jeff Sessions quits on him, and Paul Ryan quits on him. The guy, the Speaker of the House. They just took a knee and just quit. And it's put all of us in a tailspin. Now, he got a little bit done, but not a whole lot done in the last 3 years, but he's got as much done by himself. We need help, and he needs help. So I'm gonna go up there and support him and back him, and we gotta get God back in the country, and education going again. There goes Mayor. You up for election this year?
August, yes, sir.
Oh, okay. You can go if it's August, and then you can go on home now. Then.
I'm good.
We're gonna vote for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Coach is endorsing you.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, we're gonna endorse you. Thanks for coming. I know you gotta go to work. Appreciate it.
Always for you, Coach.
Yeah.
Let's give enthusiasm for young black guys like you, the military, maybe go in the Air Force or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you, we got an all-volunteer army, and you got to give it to them because they do it. But that's one thing too that President Trump's trying to get back a fighting machine, because we spend too much time on social issues in the military now instead of worrying about training people to fight and protect this country. But he's really built it back, because the last president kind of stripped it to bones. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, I have a statement. Well, just, when you get up there, I'm planning on voting for you, we homeschool. I have a daughter that's a senior, she's at home doing school right now. I hope you fight for the rights for homeschoolers in Alabama. Alabama is one of the best places to homeschool. We have freedom. And I love that because I can do whatever I want with them, their education. They get a better education than they do in the public school system. And so I really do hope you fight for the rights of homeschoolers in
What's the
school.
law now?
Well, right now, you can pretty much do anything. You don't have to have a cover school, but I do use one. We go to a co-op. But pretty much you have all the freedom of what you want to do. You pick your own curriculum. You have to go so many, like 180 days a year, but I have 365 days to get that 180 days in. So we have flexibility where we can use this right here as a day of homeschooling. And I've taken him to political rallies. Both my kids have joined the Civil Air Patrol, they're cadets. We're big gun supporters. They're both national champion trap shooters. So, but I just hope, you really support this, keep the freedom of homeschoolers.
Like I told you, if we can do all this other stuff we want in the economy and all that, if we don't straighten our education out and give people the freedom to do what you're doing and stress that, the country's not gonna make it.
Well, they were in public school, and I pulled them out, and my mother's retired third grade teacher, and I would give her the books that I was going to use, and she said, I wish I had the freedom to teach this. This is what we used to teach them long time ago, and they don't have the freedom. It's all paperwork.
Well, just to give you an example of where this country's going, they've got a guy called Bernie Sanders on the left, and he is, looked like he's gonna win. And that's how far we've gone. And his number one contributors to his campaign, which is $200-300 each. He's got small contributors. You get some of these like Biden, and they get $1 million a pop. Well, the old boy has worked hard. He's raised money from people that work, that have jobs. But most of his money comes from the unions, teacher unions in the West Coast and up in the North. And teachers, what are they teaching? They're teaching socialism, and they're all behind it. So that's what we're fighting right now. We're fighting to educate our kids to get back in this country, the moral values that we all learned. And again, that's the churches and the schools are the places we want to raise our kids. Well, they've tried to close down the churches. They're against Christianity, and they've changed everything in the Department of Education over the years. Just to be able to do what they're doing today is just brainwash your kids. If we had an election today between 18 and 35-year-olds, they did a poll a few months ago, just 18 to 35, and they voted 80% socialism, 30% communism. So that's where we stand.
That's why there is a rise in homeschooling right now.
Exactly. It's a fight, folks. I'm telling you, we're going to have to fight now. If we don't send people up there like me, not that I'm special, I know the problem, and I'm going to be screaming and hollering. You send these other guys up there, they have no clue about this problem, none. I mean, all they want to do is go up there and have 2 martini lunches, get a paycheck, and say they're in the club. They don't want to go help the problems. We have huge problems, and I can't wait if I can get in the runoff and debate one of these guys and just ask them, what are you going to do about education? What are you going to do? And they have no clue that we have this kind of problem. They think everything's real good, and some of the schools are good in some areas. In Alabama, we've got some good schools, we've got good teachers, and we got some concern, but we don't, there's some that aren't, obviously. Half the kids in this state can't read and write over 6th grade reading level.
Nor do they know anything about the Constitution or the Bill of Rights.
We don't teach any. Here's what's happened. We have, the Department of Education in Washington changed the textbooks. We don't teach history like we were taught. They've changed words. They don't want to offend anybody. There's nothing in that Constitution that said you can't have your feelings hurt. Hey, this country is what it is, and we came from somewhere. And so we've got to stick with that and learn from the past and make the future better. But they don't want to do that.
It looks like it's very strongly right now thinking to get rid of the electoral college.
Well, you know why?
Yeah.
Because they don't want us to count. They don't want us to count. They want New York and California to count in Florida.
They would control voting.
Yeah. Well, that's what this illegal immigration is about. They want voters. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
While we're on education, can you give us your position on Common Core and how you're gonna vote on the education amendment?
Common Core, I'm not for. Again, my kids started growing up in that, and I get to see them real quick. Some of it is probably pretty good. What Common Core is a universal teaching system that they want us to be the same in Europe as everybody else. They want us all to be on the same level. We don't want to be on the same level as Europe. We educate our people here. We want them to be smarter, brighter. Since Common Core, we've gone from #1 in the country in education in the world to 37. 37. And it ain't working.
It's more than just that though, it's the tool that the left is using to brainwash our children.
Yeah.
It's not
Same thing.
standard.
Yeah.
To me, it is propaganda, it is an agenda that is pushing homosexuality, all this other ills of society.
They call it diversity. I went into a class the other day in a 2-year school, this guy that was very upset about it, so why don't you come into this class and look at us? And we go in there and stand. And I said, what is this? What do they teach you? He said, it's called adulting. They come here, these are 20-year-olds, was in this class, 150 of them. We're paying, I mean, their parents are paying for them to be there. And that day, they were teaching them how to address an envelope and where to put a stamp. Think about that now. I mean, and it was a big problem. It was huge for those kids to learn that. They never learned it before. They don't teach how to read a watch with hands on it in school anymore. They don't teach that anymore. They don't teach basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic. But we've gone into all this climate change and no civics, no government. We don't hurt anybody's feelings and tell them where they came from. We don't do that. We better start hurting people's feelings or we're going to be really hurt down the line. Any other questions?
I could even take the Alabama people down Auburn. They sit up there in the stands and go, roll, eagle.
I think they're gonna go Tommy.
You know, one thing, my wife and I prayed about doing this, and I'm thinking, man, I might get some of these Alabama people to vote for me. But that is the one thing that I've been more impressed with of going to places where the groups like this will be 90% of them Alabama fans.
You got it.
And when they leave, and I talk, Coach, I'm voting for you. Hey, we need somebody to step up. This ain't a game. We know you can win. We know you'll work. We know we can trust you. You know, we don't trust these folks that go up there just for a paycheck. We don't trust you. So go speak for us.
I got a question. I think I asked my mother, but there's a friend of mine at church asked me to ask my husband's son. He said, I don't know about the town in Turberville, but I felt like I heard the team was on the bridge in Florida to vote, and they weren't going to vote for because of that. And I said, what? Don't tell me that. You said, well, don't you know about what you're saying? I was like, that might answer that question.
Well, you know, I lived in Alabama 11 years, and of course, we had a house, I had a lake house, I got a farm, which I've had 21 years, that I raised deer, high fence. I raised my two boys there, and then of course, you know, like military, you're gonna get transferred. I got transferred to Texas Tech, then once, but I chose to move back. Now I've had a house in Florida for 20. My wife has. She loves going down there for a few weeks a year, but we live in Auburn, and
Well, they answer this question, say what my part is, but you don't think they're living out loud.
people, you know, and that's how, unfortunately, people they're uneducated on it, because they get told things, and they see it on TV going, what? And, you know, Mitch McConnell, who's probably the third most powerful guy in the world, he was born here. Yeah, he was born here. And so, they don't want people, military running, they don't want people that's actually at jobs. They want a clean sale, you know, to run Washington D.C. Well, they got the wrong guy here. They're in trouble. So, I'm looking forward to it. Anybody else?
Yeah, Tommy, Coach talked about a little bit about the squad and the Muslim influence we're getting. I mean, when you look at the Democrat debate, when they put a flag on stuff.
No crack, no flag, no Christian, no talk about God, not one word. And they're changing the world, they're changing the country.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, we better start hurting people's feelings. I don't care who you pray to, but don't come in here and tell us you're not gonna go by our laws and our constitution. They want that Sharia law.
That, and they want to sell them.
Yeah.
Well, you do realize we have in Russell a group that has moved in, and they've got a website saying they're gonna have their own government.
Yeah.
And their own law enforcement. It's 7 miles from my house.
It's coming.
I mean, they're there. They're Moors. They're there. They've got a Facebook page, website, and everything. And they're trying to buy up land.
But thank y'all for letting me come. Again, next Tuesday, you got to go vote. Take your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, whoever. Thank you for everything. Appreciate it.